I'm Jo. I'm the lead chaplain to Derbyshire Constabulary and Derbyshire Fire and Rescue Services. I'm married to Chris, who's an engineer at Rolls-Royce in Derby, and we've got 2 children, Jack and Isabel. Vocation means to me that I'm following God's calling on my life, and what I mean by that is that I'm doing what I feel I'm really meant to do as Jo. And now that I'm a chaplain, I spend all of my time working with people who are carrying out their own vocations, being the people that they're meant to be, and at the point where I am at the moment is in the emergency services. I became a police chaplain because I was behind an accident on the A1, and it was a fatality, sadly. My husband and my family, we were travelling up to the northeast along a difficult stretch of road, and there was an accident just a few cars ahead of us. And I went up to the scene and said, without thinking, I'm an ordained priest, I've done some work as a hospital chaplain, a voluntary hospital chaplain, can I help? And the police force said yes, could I help to sit with a witness who'd been just behind the accident and had tried to give the passenger, motorbike passenger, CPR, and sadly that person had died. And so I stayed with that person for about an hour and 20 minutes and stood with the police, stood with witnesses, saw a horrible accident, and then the scene was cleaned, and as everything was clearing and we were moving on, one of the police officers stood back with me and said, this has been an awful, awful accident. But when it happened, we were offered support from the general public by 5 people. 2 people travelling on the other side of the road were doctors. A junior doctor was also just nearby, like I was. The lady who'd witnessed the accident taught CPR, taught Heart Start in schools, and myself, a priest. And he said, God was here. God was right in the middle of this. We couldn't have had any more support than we had then. And that stayed with me, that even in that situation, you could be of some support to other people. My son was very ill with meningitis when he was 3. And when I spent time in hospital with the nurses, because he was in isolation, the nurses talked to me about how I seemed quite peaceful. Well, my faith helped me and strengthened me when Jack was poorly. But they were saying that some parents in the ward where we were really struggling. And the nurses asked me if I could go and talk to them, not to preach to them, but just to support them and be with them and have a cup of tea, and I did. And that really was a moment for me where I say that God kicked me and said, you can be somebody for me. It's overwhelming sometimes when I realise that I am acting out my true vocation and I am doing what God has called me to do.
So my name's Tom Archer and I work for Derbyshire Fire and Rescue Service. My journey to joining the fire service was, I was at university thinking about what I wanted to do for a career and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and talked to a lot of friends, a lot of colleagues. I was working as a lifeguard and one of them suggested the fire service, and I thought it sounded like a good idea. Did a bit of research, and the more I looked into it, the more it looked like a job that would offer variety, excitement, challenge, and it went from there really. I started applying and was lucky enough to get in. The most rewarding part of my job is working with people. I mean, I do like talking to people. I do like interacting with them. You get to help members of the community when they're, at a time when you wouldn't wish anyone to be in any danger, but when they are, we're the service they call, and there's an enormous sense of satisfaction from helping people in that time when they need us. I love working with the people in the organisation, helping watchers, helping individuals, getting help myself a lot of the time. It's a great place to work, and sort of the ethos of the organisation is one of just sort of, I want to say comradeship, but it sounds, camaraderie, helpful and inclusive. When I came into the department, I was going through a promotion process. I was lucky enough to gain promotion to station manager, and one of my roles on appointment was to look after the chaplaincy. And within the fire service, we're very, very keen on supporting our employees through all of life's up and downs, both within work and outside of work. the chaplaincy is just one avenue that we offer to our employees for their support. So we have lots of internal mechanisms where people can talk, gain help, seek advice. But in those situations where they just want to talk to someone outside of work in total confidence without anyone else knowing, then the chaplaincy is that route for them. And so that's how I met Jo, and we've been working together for about a year now. And it's been an interesting journey.